Good day, viewers. My name is Helenina Shilindo, and welcome to our second program, Economics Grade 10 and 11. Today we will be talking about supply, but before we start, let us look at our lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, learners should be able to define and illustrate supply and analyze simple market situations with changes in supply. Supply is defined as the quantity of a commodity which is supplied at any given price over some given period. The law of supply states that more shall be supplied at higher prices and less would be supplied at lower prices. Meaning, suppliers are willing to supply more at higher prices in order to maximize their profit. Let us use a supply schedule to make this simpler. A supply schedule shows the quantities which will be supplied at different prices. The law of supply states that the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. Now that we have defined supply and discussed the law of supply, it is now time for us to draw the supply curve. As you can see, learners, a supply curve is upward sloping to the right from the left, which is the opposite of the demand curve. Let us plot in our figures from the supply schedule from earlier. When the price is $5, suppliers will supply 100 milk containers per week. But when the price comes down at $4, suppliers are only willing to supply 80 containers. We should remember that changes in the price causes a movement along the supply curve. Just like the demand curve from our previous lesson, there are factors that causes a shift or movement of the supply curve as well. Movement of the supply curve can represent increase or decrease in supply. Let us illustrate this using graphs. When supply increases, the supply curve shifts to the right, and when supply decreases, supply shifts to the left. Factors that determine or shifts the supply curve include: number 1, the cost of production, which can include factors of production. Number 2, climate and other natural conditions. Number 3, taxes and subsidies. Number 4, number of firms in the industry, which includes suppliers. Number 5, price of a substitute in the production. Number 6, prices of a complement in productions. Before we end this lesson, let us try one question together to see if you understand. If everything else does not change and there was an increase in the wages and no increase in productivity, will supply increase or decrease? Correct. Supply will decrease. This means our supply curve will shift to the left. Thank you, learners, for joining us today. I hope you guys had fun as much as I did. But before we go, let us have a recap on today's topic and look at the question of the day. Thank you very much for tuning in. Goodbye.